We have indeed, and just in time to watch her finally carry on making her way towards Djuma. Now, there is a termite mound not too far from where she is, so I'm hoping, crossing fingers, that she's gonna go up there. Come on. Yes. Oh, yay. Perfect. Now, you see she's contact calling, and she's unfortunate there's a car that's close to us, but I'm sure they're also gonna switch up, and she's been calling for a little bit now, and I'm sure she's looking for the rest of the pride. There we go. It's not the loudest call she can make. Oh, you stunning cat, thank you very much. That is a very pretty place for you to lie in. Queen of the Mound. Very leopard fashion of you, I must say. I'm afraid of talking too much because she is making contact calls and it's an absolutely interesting sound, so I would like for everyone to be able to hear it as well. Seems she's definitely looking for some more lions, and not too far from here we had those lion trucks from the morning. There we go. Very faint. Now, I would assume that perhaps the rest of the pride is not too far, and maybe they split up during the night while they're busy hunting. Could be a reason for it, why she's all alone, but she's definitely, there are more lions somewhere, and that's what she's doing. She's trying to find out where they are just by making that soft call. It's going to travel. She doesn't want to fully roar and give her position away, but she definitely wants to pick up where the rest of the lions are. There she is. She's roaring again. It's also part of the reason why she's gone on the mound. Can you guys hear that? Where's the rest of your pride? Sinak, you're wondering what type of calls do lions make to communicate? Well, they have a varied range. The one that we're listening to now is called a contact call, and you will hear it in between pride members or perhaps a mom with a cub. And it's a soft call. They're just trying to find out where the rest of the pride members are, and they're trying to reunite, calling each other. It's almost like telling one another, come to me. Now, obviously, there's a roaring, which we heard this morning, tends to be more of a territorial call, just to call to oh, here we go again. To reinstate their territory and that they're in a particular area. It's a call that they make when they want the world to know that they are there. And then, of course, they make the snarling and growl noises when they're feeling threatened by either another lion, by another pride member, or when they're just annoyed with the cubs, or pretty much any other pride member. They just make that, or, you know, humans, even if we go on foot and we find them, or any other creature, it's more of an aggressive, defensive, standoff call. This is also, with the roaring, one of my favorite sounds. I find it such an endearing sound. It's like very intimate, very private sound that lions only make for other lions. The rest of the pride has gone off to now. There were reports of another lioness further south, but I cannot hear anything from where we are, and if she can, then she's definitely not that close to us. I think it's still going to be a while before you find the rest of your pride. Jane, you're wondering if we name the female lions. There are some of them that have got certain characteristics that stand out and then makes it easier for us to identify. Perhaps in the Nkuhuma pride we have Amber Eyes that has got those striking amber eyes and then she's easy to tell apart. But no, as far as I know, we don't have a specific name for every specific lioness. Just it seems that the ones that tend to stand out the most because of some sort of feature, then they almost get a nickname that refers directly to them. Either Amber Eyes, there's a lioness in the Southern Pride that's called Floppy Ear because she's got a floppy ear. And I think that's pretty much it. But we haven't assigned them, or I don't think they have been given names. Like, for example, the Birmingham boys have been given. I almost want to cry. She's so sad. Where's the rest of your pride? Did you get greedy and go eat by yourself and you lost them? Now, it does happen every now and again that they'll split up, especially if they're hunting or after the rains, or perhaps if they were interested in one of the males. And I do remember a few days ago Nsuku was particularly interested in one of the females and he was strailing her and, you know, just sniffing behind her back and so on. So I think one of them was potentially going into heat. I cannot recall which one it was exactly, but it could be. Nsuku's not too far from here and he's just on Chitwa and we are pretty much on Chitwa cut line, so distance-wise, could be that they were together portion of the night and then they split up and Nsuku went and terrorized Tingana and then she's just now looking for the rest of the pride. Could be an explanation as to why she's by herself. Seems like Tingana is not looking... No, we're not going to Tingana, we're staying with the lioness. Was a bit of a glitch in the system there. She hasn't stopped calling. Now, there's quite a difference in between the roar that we heard Nsuku make this morning, I think that was pure and utter frustration on his behalf, and the call that she is making. I wonder if she heard more lions. Where are you gazing around? Definitely not anymore. Right, I think I'm gonna try and just go a little bit forward and give us maybe a bit of a different angle, although this one is fantastic, but I think the one that I've got in mind might even work out a little bit better. So just bear with me for 2 seconds while we move our car. And we're still not gonna be in her way. Jimmy, you are asking how old do lions live for? Well, it depends if you're a boy or a girl. So lionesses tend to live slightly longer than what males do. They tend to live roughly on average until they're maybe 15, 16 years of age. And then the male lions, because they're constantly fighting, then they live until they're about 12. Now, by constantly fighting, I mean they lead a more violent life than some of the females, because not only do they have to hunt and fight for the right to mate with the females, but they also have to hold territories, and that means fending off all other male lions that might come around, and sometimes those fights can get very, very violent. So in general, male lions tend to live a little bit less than when female lions do. Now, in captivity, they are known to live over 20 years or so. I have a feeling maybe the rest of your pride is up there. That's where we saw the tracks. So perhaps you need to carry on walking. Maybe she's getting frustrated because nobody's answering. I love it that she's gone up a termite mound just like a leopard. Couldn't find Tandy, but at least the lions like us, Senza. Kristen, you're wondering if Nsuku is close enough to hear her. Well, he's close, but not that close. She would have to make a bit of a louder sound. If she started roaring, for example, then yes, he would definitely hear her, even if the wind is not that favorable to her at the moment. but their hearing is a lot better than ours, so they can, and also the noise can travel very, very far away. So if there are any other lions in the closest vicinity, I would say in probably about 5K radius or so, they should be able to hear her. Seems like our leopard is finally camera ready, so let's go over to Tristan and ask him if Tingana or Nsuku can hear the lioness. Yes, she is, and she is loving it. Nothing as comfortable as a termite mound to sleep in. Now, it seems like she's not that bothered by where the rest of her pride is now. I think maybe she just woke up and realized she was by herself. And she's been trying to contact call every now and again, but I think she's very confident in the fact that at one point or another, she's actually going to find them. So definitely not worried. She's still up there and very happy to be sleeping. It's quite a obvious place to sleep, but I suppose lions, out of all the animals around, they have the luxury of sleeping wherever they want. So I'm just taking advantage of it. And she's got some massive paws as well. I'm always impressed when we see them, just how big they are. You know, they just command so much power. I do wonder where the rest of your pride is, because we've been playing games with them between yesterday and today. Well, I suppose we can call it the whole day, because that would be 24 hours of me running around trying to find either a leopard or a lion on Djuma, at least, because this morning we got lucky because Nsuku and Tingana were spotted by the Chitwa guys. Not bothered at all, are you? There's a slight breeze, and it seems that almost in the background the clouds are starting to open, and I can see a beautiful blue sky for the first time in about 2 days. So we apologize for the poll. We are still with our roofs on because we're not too sure as to what the rain is going to be doing in the next few days. But at least for now, it's a lovely, lovely sky. And I wouldn't be surprised if she's sleeping and tired, because probably she was awake and she slept very uncomfortable, I would say, until 8 o'clock in the morning, because it rained throughout the night. So I doubt that any animal had a good night's sleep. It's time to make up for it now, in full lion fashion. Beautiful clouds. Now, I wonder if Tundi's around here as well, because we had those alarm calls not too far, and we drove in to check it out and there was nothing. So I'm starting to get suspicious, as if maybe there was another lion down there, or if perhaps actually Tundi, because it's not too far from the spot where Byron found her. But who knows? It seems like in the last few days, lions and leopards have been almost dancing around each other, and I wouldn't be surprised if she is somewhere around here. Nelia, you're wondering if a lion can get sick from a spider bite. I would suppose that depending on the spider, sometimes their venom can make a wound necrotic. So if it does manage to actually get through their skin and through their hair and inject their venom, it might happen and might be able to, although I don't think it would be deadly for a lion. Maybe it will make them feel ill for a little while, but I think they would overall survive. I'm not too sure. I've never heard of a lion being or dying because of a spider bite. I have heard of lions dying because they've been bitten by snakes before, but never a spider. But I suppose, as with everything, if it's a very big, mean, very venomous spider, perhaps now. That is a francolin in the distance that started making that call that got her up and scanning the horizon again. It is funny, she seemed to be very fast asleep, and as soon as something felt out of place and the francolin made its noise, and her head was up very quickly, not in too much alert because the francolin is not that close to us, but then just calling, just in case there's somebody around. I feel your struggle. I wish that, at least one of them would reply to you. Such a sad call.
Please get ready on to return.
I think we're getting upset that nobody's answering now. Getting a bit louder. Trying to listen out as well, very intently, see if perhaps we can pick up another lion answering far in the distance, but I cannot hear anything. Sensor, can you hear anything?
Not.
Also, I cannot hear anything. It is windy as well, so that might be a reason why we can't see anything. Seems like Tristan is cloudscaping, if I'm not mistaken. So let's head over to him and find out if maybe he found the rest of the lion pride in the clouds. Well, she's definitely not gone back to sleep after the Franklin woke her up, and she's been soft content calling still. Now, I'm tempted to go and look around where in the direction where she's looking in, but I'm afraid that if we leave her, and we might not find her again, so it's a bit of a tricky one. I do know that one of the other vehicles has gone all the way up north and just wants to check around, so hopefully if they find anything, they will let us know. Also, I'm a bit hesitant of leaving her because if she does come across the lions and the greeting ceremony in a pride once they find each other and they haven't seen each other for a while is very, very special. I love it when they start and they see each other and there's almost a hesitation in the beginning. Is this somebody I know? Should I run away? And then how they just rub their heads and start making calls and become almost a little bit playful. Definitely actively searching for all your pride. I wish they would answer. Yeah, they're not being that nice to you, are they? I think you are looking in the wrong direction, though. Perhaps if you roar a little bit louder. Maybe not too much energy yet. We all know that you can roar louder than that. Perhaps she won't be able to roar as loud as one of the males, but definitely can go a couple decibels higher than what she's doing now. So it's interesting. It keeps me wondering as to why she's making soft contact calls like that. So it's either because she doesn't want to give her position away too much, she doesn't want to actively advertise that she's here, or perhaps she believes that the rest of the pride is not that far. Obviously, there's communication clues that are left behind when animals go by that are pretty much impossible for us humans to detect. And these are the olfactory pheromones and things that are up in the air, but as well any other, what's the word for it, any other sounds, any other noises. Perhaps lions are replying far away and she can just almost hear a faint call. Alright, seems like we've got some elephants that might be entering the scene. We've been very lucky with interspecies in the last few days. Now she's definitely looking at them and they're straight ahead of us. And they're almost coming this way. And it's a mother and a youngster, about 4 months old. Now you see she's raised her trunk. She can definitely smell the lioness. She knows she's here. But I think she's just going to try and avoid her. Yeah. Well, if you wanted to go unnoticed, that didn't help. Now the elephants are both listening in this direction. They know there's a lion here. Very alert. You see how her ears are all perked like that? Welcome everyone. We are coming to you all the way from South Africa. We're in the Greater Kruger National Park. We are watching a small herd of elephants. It's just in front of us. My name is Ali. and Senzo is on camera with me today, but we want to show you the beautiful lioness that we are looking at, that's also looking at the elephants. Now, if you've got any questions or comments, please post them on the comment section below. This is live and interactive, so what we're looking at is exactly at what is happening right now. Now, we've got this lioness that seems to have lost her pride. She's making a soft contact call. She wants to know where the rest of her pride is. And unexpectedly, we've had these elephants that have joined the scene. So it's been a bit of a tricky one, because the elephants, they've kept coming and they're coming down the road. It seems it's only 3 of them for now. And they're coming here, but they seem to just carried on feeding. They definitely know that the lioness is here. You can see their ears are perked, and before, when she was making those calls, they stopped and they put up their trunks, and then they were smelling everything around us. So both animals, both species know that the lion knows the elephants are here, and the elephants know that the lioness is here. Now, I think it would be a bit of a different situation if the whole pride was here. Stephen, you're saying hello from Houston. Well, hello from South Africa. It's wonderful to have everyone joining us from different parts of the world to witness a very unusual encounter between lion that we've got here on the right-hand side and then the elephants. And now I cannot see any more lions, and she's been desperately calling for her pride for the last 15 minutes or so. I think, yeah, there she's calling. Just gonna be quiet for about 5 seconds. Maybe she's gonna call again, because it's a very faint noise that she's making. Lions can make obviously much louder calls. They normally roar, but in this case I think she's just holding her ground. She doesn't want to leave that termite mound, but you see now that the elephants are starting to approach a little bit. It's almost like she's, well, besides the fact that she's gone almost to sleep, she's put her shoulders or her head a little bit further down. And if the elephants carry on coming, perhaps she's going to go flat on the termite mound, almost in a submissive behavior to try and avoid them. However, right now, it doesn't seem like she's too worried. The elephants have veered off a little bit and have put a massive line of trees between them and the lioness. So I apologize for the pulls. These are for the rain that we've had. Tamara, you're wondering if this is the Nkuhuma pride. I do believe this is one of the females of the Nkuhuma pride, and we had tracks for them this morning, and we've been looking for them for the last 2 days, and only now have we managed to find one of the females. Now you see the elephant seems that it's going to veer off and going to head in a different way. Morali, you're wondering if the cub is nearby. We haven't seen any cubs. We've only seen this lioness, so we're not too sure where the rest of the pride is or where the cubs are being hidden at the moment. I think the elephants are going to try and avoid all sort of confrontation. They have now veered off onto the bushes, into the thickets far away from where the lioness is. And the lioness has held her ground in a very sleepy fashion. I think more because she's asleep than because more than that, she wasn't really trying to be too fierce. And she's just sleeping now. I'm going to stick around with this lioness for the foreseeable future. If you'd like to carry on watching and see what happens next, you're welcome to search Safari Live and subscribe. Right, apologies everyone for all the little gremlins that were attacking us and just pretty much wanted me to keep quiet. Can you guys hear that? I think she's definitely starting to get annoyed now, and she's becoming louder. Now, it's amazing to see just how close those elephants and the lion were, and often it'll happen, and I think perhaps... okay, I'm not going to interrupt if you're calling. Now we're getting more of that. So now it's a fine line. Now we're in between roaring and calling. I think now the patience is waving thin, and I wouldn't blame her. She's been calling now for a while and absolutely no answer from everyone. How very rude of the rest of her family. Now, as I was saying earlier, I think one of the most amazing things is just to witness this interaction constantly. Are you going to roar again? Right, sorry guys, I want to keep quiet as much as I can because the noise that she's making, it's amazing and we don't get to hear it all that often, and I just want everyone to be able to enjoy partly of what the bush is really about. It's just sitting still and hearing everything that's around you and just allowing everything just to play out. Just pretty much admiring. I think I'm pretty besotted by the scene and the beautiful sky that we've got at the back and the spot that she chose where to lie in, and just in general the way that we've seen her behavior change and even her calls in the last little while. She's gone from, very confident that the pride was all around her, calling softly, to getting a little bit sleepy on the termite mound, to now it seems getting a little bit annoyed because nobody's answering. Now, I'm sure the rest of her pride is fine. I just think they might be a little bit further away than what she initially thought. Now we're almost into roaring. Such a powerful sound. Sensor, I think today we hit the roaring jackpot. We really have. It's been very lucky just to have the male roaring in the morning and now her, and just being able to share it with everyone. But just to finish on my last train of thought, if you will allow me, I would appreciate it. Thank you very much. It's amazing how close animals often are to each other, predators to potential prey species, and they just choose to avoid each other. The lioness didn't even move. At one point she seemed she was a little bit sleepy, and then the elephants just decided to veer off and go away from her. Like that lion sleeping fashion with the paw. I don't know if I could even imitate that, like sleeping like this. First Lady, you're wondering if the lions ever damaged their vocal cords from roaring so loudly. Well, they could potentially, but what we hear, it's pretty much the sound just reverberating, and their vocal cords are not exactly like ours. They're actually different. They're more of a square shape and protected by a fatty layer, and when they bring the air in, actually their diaphragm is put in such a certain position that it's able to grab, it's almost like more air, and pull further back, and then when the air comes out, it resonates and on that fatty layer on their vocal cords. Because as far as I understand it, our vocal cords are more of a triangular shape, and theirs are more fatty residues on the sides that allows this noise, combined with the ability almost to pull their diaphragm back more than what any of us could. And this is a reason why they're able to roar so loudly without actually damaging their vocal cords or pretty much any parts of them. Now I think maybe we've gone back to sleeping. Frustration has settled in. PT Watcher, you're wondering what would happen if her family doesn't show up. Well, a couple of things could happen. She could become a nomadic lioness. She could stay around this area, but likely her family will come around and will be somewhere around this area. Now, she's part of a big pride of lions. It's about, I think, 13 at the moment, so the chances of her family completely disappearing in this particular area are very slim. So in the meantime, while she's by herself, she's just going to have to fend for herself. So that means hunting by herself, which I'm sure she's more than capable of doing, finding her own water. But also she knows the coalition of males that lives in this area, the Birmingham boys. So they will be able to recognize her and she will be able to recognize them. So as long as she's around and she stays within also the territory of these males, then she's got pretty much no reason to fear, other than perhaps getting a little bit lonely with the lack of sisters and nieces and nephews and all of the other family members. Although it seems like for now she's decided she's mad at all of them and she's just going to sleep it off. That's the lion way. If you're angry, just sleep it off. She's been so interesting to spend this afternoon with her. And also, I don't understand how cats, lions, and leopards can get themselves into these positions. I can just imagine trying to sleep with my arm sticking out like that, and I'm pretty sure that I would have a dead arm after a while. Now, imagine something that weighs about 180, 200 kilograms, all the weight on one of their shoulders. Quite crazy. Are you waking up? No. Byron is at one of the pans. I wonder which one. Maybe he's got some lion tracks that he can show us. So let's head over to him and find out what he's been seeing. She is resting now. I feel like she's given up for the time being. And instead of being a lion, you've got to sleep a lot just to keep up with your reputation, I suppose. She is looking very sweet. And I must say, throughout this whole sighting, I think the general feeling, or at least the general impression that she's given me, is just sort of a very sweet character that's looking very sadly for the rest of her family. First Lady, you're wondering if... I'm sorry about the use of the word wondering. I'm trying really hard to avoid it, but it doesn't seem like I can. You are asking if the lions get worried like the humans do. Well, I think that they do, just in my experiences, how I've seen them react to certain situations and certain conditions, and they do definitely get apprehensive about things. So you can feel that there is almost an unease and an unsettlement in their character. I don't know if you've ever seen it on one of our shows, but for example, wherein either lions or leopards, when they're thinking or when they're approaching a kill, you can almost, especially with leopards, it's very obvious, you can see their tail that starts flicking, or when they're stressed and they're looking for a cub and the cub doesn't come running, then you can feel that tension that they're feeling. So definitely, I do think that they get worried, perhaps not for the same reasons as what we do, and they may not carry their worry the same way as we do, but I think in their own terms, yes, they do feel worry. Although not like you are too worried now that you're asleep. Maybe earlier when your pride wasn't answering, but I think that was perhaps a mix between worry and anger and frustration. But you're very pretty now, even with the fly on your ear. Looking in such great condition as well. We've always been impressed with the Nkuhuma pride just because they tend to look, so they're like pretty lions. They're like wedding cake lions, always very pretty, in good conditions, always looking stunning, and they're a pleasure to see. Some of the other lions that we get in certain areas, and even, I'm sorry to say this, but if we compare them to the Styx pride, unfortunately, because they've had certain skin conditions and diseases, they're not looking as pretty, but it seems that somehow the Nkuhumas always manage to pull through and look stunning. Now, I'm curious to sometime witness the Torchwood pride. I would like to see them and see what they look compared to the Styx and the Nkuhumas. That would be quite an unusual comparison. It would give us an idea of what pretty much the three main prides of lions or lionesses that we get in this area look like. You are out. Hopefully not for the next few minutes. I am hoping that her calls got someone moving and that it'll come this way. But while we wait for her to either get up, let's head over to Byron, who's at his next waterhole looking for more frogs. Well, we all thought that she was going to because she stretched and she got up all of a sudden, but then just as quickly as she got up, then she went back down on the termite mound. I think you're just playing with her feelings now. But her calls have become louder and louder as it's getting darker, and I think her patience as well as ours is running thin. We're all wondering where they are. Come on, guys. Now okay. She carries on roaring this loud, then I'm sure the male lions are going to be able to pick up where she is. Perhaps Nsuku will be able to find out and get in this direction and probably try and join up for her. I have a feeling, though, that the rest of her pride is not as close as she thinks they are, and I think they're a little bit further into Buffelshoek. Now, this afternoon... Are you going to carry on? I don't want to interrupt you, okay? Okay, lady. So this afternoon, as we were driving in this direction just to go and try and follow up on Tundi, we came across tracks for that big herd of buffalo once more, and they were in the central part of Djuma, close to Gauri Dam. I'm not too sure if maybe they made an appearance by the dam camp, and then they carried on going north and east, at least from what I could see. So I wouldn't be surprised if the rest of them are actually on the trail of the buffalo, as they've been the last few days. And perhaps, well, who knows, she got distracted doing other things, split up during the rain, and that's why she's by herself. Hampers, you're wondering if some animals track their prey by their footprints. Well, I don't think so, no. I think they will hunt them and they will follow their footprints because all the animals will leave a scent behind. And I think they go more by scent than by actually seeing the footprints. I don't think they'll be able to recognize if it's the footprint of a buffalo or a zebra, but they will definitely be able to recognize their smell. Now we're talking. It's been an interesting comparison because in the morning we had a male lion roaring and now we have her. And obviously in the morning the male lion was sounding a lot louder, but this is still not as loud as she can go. And it's still pretty loud. So I think as the night carries on and if she doesn't manage to find her pride, then we're going to be able to hear her calling a lot louder than what she is now. Sorry, Rebecca, can you just repeat the question once more? Katerina, she might be more vulnerable during the night if she's by herself, if she tries to hunt something bigger or if perhaps other unexpected lions come into the area. Just because one lion is more vulnerable without just on itself than without the rest of her pride. But I don't think she will get particularly scared. I think more than now she's just annoyed. We're just going to swap into infrared. So if you see the screen going into a bit of a different color, it's just because we're turning on our special lights that allow us to see better into the dark. Would probably allow us to follow you better into the dark, should you decide to leave the termite mound. Nope. Lara Moore, yes, the lions can recognize individual individual voices, individual lion calling, for sure. They are, and hyenas do it as well. And I think to some extent leopards do it as well. When the one's calling, they will know exactly which pride member is calling because they all have different voices. Now, it seems a bit odd for us, but if you think about it, when you're talking to someone, everybody's got a very specific voice, and you're able to recognize people by their voice. It's pretty much exactly the same with the lions and the hyenas, which are the ones that tend to call the most, or at least live in clans where knowing who's calling comes in beneficial. And you see, she's also raising her head. She's sniffing. She's sniffing. Right, seems like another one of our sleepy cats, Tingana, is contemplating on moving. So let's see. Will the leopard come down of the tree and start moving before the lion? Right, well, she's definitely not moving. I don't know if this is her willing the pride to come to her, or being too lazy to carry on looking for them, or just making a statement now. It's quite an odd situation that we've witnessed today. I think you might have actually lost your pride. As had anyone replied, I reckon she would have gotten up and carried on moving and just walked in that general direction. So perhaps if Nsuku does manage to steal the rest of the kill, or just decides to abandon Tingana, which also would be wonderful, as Tingana probably needs a bit of calm and rest and peace. Maybe they would try and join up sometime during the night. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually, or if he hears her from all the way down there, if he comes up here to investigate as to who's calling, or perhaps comes to say hello. Unless he's the reason why she got lost, and then maybe she won't forgive him. We can make our own little story and soap opera. Must be a very comfortable termite mount too, because she has not moved from that particular spot. You can also start hearing some of the night sounds besides the lion roaring. Seems like there are a few frogs around us, some bubbling casinas, some painted reed frogs in the distance. Everything happening now. Or nothing. It seems like far in the distance, well, not too far, but there are some elephants around. Are you gonna call now? You want to chase the elephants away? Now, the elephants are not too far, probably about the same distance as the other herd was in, but because everything is pitch black around us, we can't really see them. So I think we're just going to focus on her, because our main interest is to see where she's going to go from here. If she goes south, likely she's going to be able to join with one of the Birmingham boys, although that would be quite far of your territory. You would be invading the sticks. Not too sure that's what you should do. Jamie, I don't think hyenas will try to kill her when she's alone. They won't actively go after her and start hunting her and try to just get her out of the way and kill her. What could happen is if she bumps into more than one hyena, the hyena, well, there could be some aggression, but as we saw with the elephants earlier on, I think that likely if there's no food involved whatsoever in the equation, they will go their separate ways and try to avoid each other as much as possible. Normally when we have those conflicts between lions and hyenas and you see them fighting pretty much to the death, there are either little ones involved, in which case either the hyenas or the lions will protect their cubs, or there's some sort of meal that's in between. Either something that a lioness killed and the hyenas want to steal, or the other way around. Seems like both cats are in very similar positions, half standing, half asleep. So let's head over to Tingana and find out how he's keeping his balance.